see everybody tonight on this live stream after last night's long hour and 7 minute video. If you haven't watched that, it is up on YouTube. It is not on Facebook. For those of you that are watching via Facebook, you will not find that one there. I'm trying once again to see if we can do both at once. And we had a little bit of problem last time, but not nothing serious. But um, tonight, this is September the 6th. Can you believe time flying by as fast as it is? And it's already the first week under our belt here in September 2025. It is 8:20 p.m. Central Standard Time. Just couldn't get everything together in time to try to be on at 8. I tried to be. But Central Time and Minnesota, I see, is with us. And it's Saturday night, and I'm going to be much briefer than last night. I'm hoping to be like 15 minutes, but we'll see. This is actually kind of a conclusion to last night's show. And so I want to talk tonight. By the way, I am, let me give a couple of things here first while people are getting on. I am scheduling prophecy conferences once again, and it's time to get back out there. We've been so busy with the book writing and with, good to see Ohio with us tonight. Book writing and going back and forth to the studio, doing shows, doing you name it. But we got to get back on the road. We've got to get out there. Got to get back out there and encourage preachers and get the word out in our churches that we are in the final days of this thing. And final moments could be tonight, could be a month from now, could be a year from now, but we're close. The Lord's coming back, and He's coming back soon. We can see so much clearly now than any other generation has ever been able to see. We can see so much more now. Russell is in the house. I think Russell, you and I just had a conversation, right? Or was that somebody else? Anyway, um, let's see here. All right. So, let's see. Have I got anything there? Okay. So, Texas is here. Folks are getting on. Looks good now. Prophecy conferences. If you are a pastor, or if you'd like to talk to your pastor or get him in touch with me, we would love to get some conferences. We're looking for this fall and next year, 2026. And we really want to we got two options for you. We can do a prophecy Sunday where I do all the services, Sunday school, Sunday morning, Sunday night, and possibly a question and answer Sunday night as well. And or a regular conference Sunday to Tuesday, Wednesday to Sunday, whatever. We'd love to talk to you about that, whatever you could handle. Um, the prophecy conference, we would like to send out letters. We'd like to get other churches involved in that. And we feel like we could really influence more people that way. But anyway, so what was that there? Let me see what that was. I posted something on Facebook. I sent you something that you corrected for me. Okay, I'm trying to. I know we talked. Yeah, I think I remember now. Yeah, and I mentioned something about the barley harvest, right? Okay. It's Joseph Lewis that I was trying to say. He's in Texas. I don't know if he's on tonight, but I mentioned he mentioned something to me, and I came. Hey, brother Todd, I'm going to be in your area Thursday, Friday, and Saturday down in Missouri. I believe I'm going to be in your area. We'll be at the studio Thursday. We'll be in Campbell, Missouri Thursday night, and Friday and Saturday I will be around that area. And Todd and I have met once, at least once, and right there in Poplar Bluff, I believe. And hey, met a lady last Sunday at the restaurant. She said, "Are you Brother Goodwin? I watch your show every Friday night on CTN." So we had quite a conversation, and she even sent a check, a donation to our ministry, and had a good time with her. Took a picture with her, but all right. So exciting days, busy days. I have a new book coming out this month. I'm a little late on this too. This really, I was hoping this would have been out a couple months ago, but that's all right. It's really falling into place now. It's going to be on the book of Genesis, book of Genesis. It's called Genesis, the book of beginnings. And it's going to be in two parts. I'll tell you more about that later. And we'll be putting up a pre-order here pretty soon, but not ready for that yet. But hoping that'll be at the printers before the end of September and ready for you. It's going to be good. I mean it. It's going to be good. Going to be important and so very important. Okay. Um, I've got a couple of verses for you. The topic tonight is this: wolves in these last days. Wolves in these last days. There are wolves today. There are wolves out there. But even more serious, listen now, there are wolves entering in among us. Among us. They are far, far, far more dangerous than the wolves howling out in the horizon, out on the at the tree line outside of your church. Now I'm talking spiritually here, now figuratively. You know we're not talking about literal wolves, right? You know that. I hope you know that. Talking about we're talking about people here. Um, the Greek word apostia, and second, someone's asking, and I don't know if I can answer that right now. Um, it's the falling away of the faith. It's not the rapture. I write about that in the God's Found Jubilee book, which is now the Mystery of the Jubilee. I write about that. I used to believe differently on the great falling away in Thessalonians. 2014, I wrote a little different on that, and I changed my view on it in 2014. And I believe I have the correct view, but you're going to have to decide for yourself. I used to believe that was the rapture till I began some word studies there. And by the way, forget the Greek. Forget the Greek. Forget the Greek dictionaries. God gave us his word in English. Study the English. Get your Webster's 1820 dictionary. The Oxford English Dictionary is awesome too. I can certainly show you some things in that one. English, English, English. Stay away from Greek and Hebrew lex icons. I call them lex icons because they con you. And I write about that in my KJV book if you have it. If you don't have it, why don't you have it? That's an important book, the King James Bible. You need to know why. You need to know what you believe and why you believe what you believe about the Bible. All right, so wolves. I'm talking about human beings now. The wolves from within, far more dangerous than those wolves outside the door of your church. The guys at the state university, the guys down at the tavern, down at the red light district. They're not half as dangerous to you um, as the wolves inside your church. Christian, in many cases, believers inside your church that are bringing damnable heresies, the Bible calls it. And I hope I answered your question. I was going to have you just message me, but it looks like I may have took care of that. I've got more on that, but I can't take the time right now. I got more about why I believe that's talking about the falling away from the faith and not the rapture there. And again, I used to believe the other way for many years. and till I did some word studies and some more, looking at that, and I changed my view on that. And I'll have to look in the Mystery of the Jubilee book and see if it's in there, because I know it's in the old Jubilee from 2014. I have to see if it made it into the new one. I hope it did. And do you have the new Jubilee book? It would be in somewhere in one of them Rapture chapters. The Mystery of the Rapture. I'm guessing it would be in there, uh, but anyway. All right. So, oh, we got a good crowd today. All right, let me get moving here because I told you I want to be brief. I feel like I went too long last night, but I was preaching up a storm. And by the way, I'm not mad at anybody. I'm disappointed in some men. Very disappointed. I'm not mad. I don't hate these guys, but I'm very disappointed in them. And I'll tell you who I'm more disappointed in. The mob, the people that are following after them and dotting their I's and agreeing with it without even doing any study. They'll mention somebody and everyone says, give us his name, give us the name of that guy you're talking about. We'll banish him. Do you understand what's wrong with that? So some preacher or somebody makes a claim about another preacher and you just believe it. You don't, how do you know he's right about it? No, you have no right to do that. You have no right to trash somebody on gossip. By the way, that's what it is, gossip. Well, that guy, I saw him coming out of a tavern. I think that preacher's a drunk. You're crazy. Now he may be a drunk. I doubt it, but he may be. But just because a preacher came out of a tavern, you don't know what he was doing in there. He might have been passing out trash. I preached in some taverns. I preached in several bars back in the day. That doesn't does that mean I'm a drunk? See how stuff can get twisted? That's just a simple example. See how things can be spread around. Somebody gets a hold of something and he calls his preacher buddy, and that guy calls another preacher. After a while, that story is totally different, isn't it? You did that as kids in school, right? The teacher would whisper something to the first person. He would whisper it to the next, and on down the line. By the time it got to the end of the line, it was it was funny. It's crazy. But it's not so funny when it's somebody's life, some preacher's life, somebody's testimony, somebody's ministry. Cut it out. Cut it out. It's wicked. Quit believing everything that goes around. Quit believing. I've said this 100 times. I'll say it again tonight. Preachers are the biggest gossips in our churches. I'm not talking. I don't mean every preacher. So don't everybody get mad at me, all you preachers. But you preachers that are listening, I'm telling the truth. Who's the who's the biggest gossip in our churches? The preachers. Man, I'm telling you, some rumor goes around about some guy immorality or some sin. Man, the preachers get on that and they spread that all over the country. You know how many of them preachers have any firsthand facts? Probably none of them. Isn't that shocking? Isn't that shocking? Now, why am I going on this rabbit trail? Because this fits exactly what I'm talking about tonight. Exactly. The enemy of our churches is not the wolves on the outside. It used to be. Used to be the Romans were crucifying us and burning us at the stake, searching our houses and getting the scriptures and burning them outside and throwing us in jail. That's not happening anymore, is it? It's not the Romans. It's not the Roman church coming and attacking us and stealing the scriptures out of our wall that we got it hidden in between the bricks there. That's not them anymore. What is it? It's preachers. And it's men coming into our churches with different ideas about the scriptures, telling your people that the King James and being King James only, that's wicked. That's not right. God, it's the original, the Greek, the Hebrew. See, those are the dangers in your church. Those are the men that'll destroy the flock, scatter the flock with their damnable heresies. That's what I'm talking about tonight. Hello, Miss Carolyn. Do you see what I'm saying tonight? The wolves from within are the biggest danger to your church, not them wolves crying outside the door or out on the tree line, the men out at the tavern, the guys in the red light district, or the women in the red light district. They're a problem, and they got to be preached about. We gotta warn the flock about them, but they're not the biggest danger, especially in these last days that we're living in right now. As we said last night, some shall depart from the faith, and that there'll be false accusers and stuff. We talked about that last night. Talking about the last days. Now we've always had some of that, but in the last days, it's magnified. Now I want to make a statement. I've got two verses for you that we're going to share, or two passages, one verse and a passage. But I want to start with this. Our brother here, and he may be on tonight. I hope he is. He's from Texas, Brother Lewis. He's a truck driver. We've met down at the Crash Museum in I've lost the name. Is it Denton, Texas? I forget. It's down south of Dallas, a couple hours anyway. I'm trying to remember the name. Doc is the vice president there. Um, so well, I met Brother Lewis there. He made a statement on the page tonight about boy, the next few months are going to be interesting with what's going on. And I made a statement to him. I said, and I'm going to read it to you word for word. I said, Joe, I don't think most people have any idea what is coming upon us. I'm going to talk about it in tonight's live stream. Our eyes are on the world, but something is coming through the front door. I was going to title this Something Coming Through the Front Door, but I didn't think anybody'd understand that. But I want to say it again. We've got our eyes on the things of this world. We're looking at Iran, we're looking at Russia and the Ukraine and in Syria, and rightfully, that's fine. And obviously we keep our eyes on Israel. But let me tell you something. While we're looking at the signs of the world out there, there's something coming through our front door that's going to destroy us. You ain't seen nothing yet. You think there's been problems and church battles and splits, and I've been in those. I pastored 3 times. I've had the church splits. I've had the battles, and I've laid on my living room floor staring at the ceiling, wishing I was dead. I've been there. I joke about it. It wasn't funny then, but I joke about it. I say all the time, I wouldn't wish pastoring upon my worst enemy. I did it 3 times. 3 times. I'm about. You see this hair up here? So while we're looking at the signs of the world, where we're all the things going on around us, our back is turned, and they're coming in our front door of our church. Oh my goodness, get what I'm saying tonight. They're coming through the front door of our church via social media, YouTube guys, podcasters, books. I'm not telling you not to read books. I'm not telling you to not watch people's podcasts and YouTubes, but many of you can't handle it. And I think us preachers have got to realize we've got to be on our toes. We've got to know what's going on in the air in our social media networks, and what's going on around the country that's getting into the ears and eyes of our people. And you got to tackle that stuff. You're going to have to preach about that stuff, and you're going to have to warn the sheep. Now, let me read a verse to you. Acts chapter 20, verses 28 through verse 30. Write that down. Acts chapter 28. I'm sorry, Acts chapter 20. 20. Acts chapter 20, verse 28 to verse 30. I've got it right here. I printed it out. I'm going to read it for you. Take heed. Oh, those are pretty serious words, right? Take heed. Take heed. Hey, preachers, take heed. They're coming through your front door. Hey, church parents, fathers, mothers, take heed. They're coming after your kids. They're coming after the minds of your kids, the hearts of your kids. Watch out. Take heed. All right. So, verse 28, take heed, therefore, unto yourselves. Well, that's not being selfish. If you don't take care of yourself, how are you going to take care of your children? If you don't feed yourself and take care of yourself, keep your spirits up, how are you going to keep anybody else's spirits up? Hey, preacher, how are you going to help your flock if you're discouraged all day long? I believe that's one reason we bring men in once in a while. An evangelist, not your buddies, not your buddy preacher. He probably can't help you. You need somebody from the outside. You need someone from the biblical office of an evangelist whose job it is to come in and help your church. Bring somebody in that can help you and encourage your church, encourage your people, and before you before you run out of steam. I'm telling you, they're preacher. They're coming through your front door. They're coming in and they're influencing your flock. I could tell you some stories right now. I'm not going to do it. Some preachers that I know whose churches have been infiltrated by podcasters, YouTubers, Facebook Live people, books, movies, and they've been influenced, and they're not what they used to be, and you're losing control because they're coming, because while you're fighting the people, the wolves on the outside, the wolves have come into your front door and are affecting your ministry. You don't believe I'm telling you the truth? You'll know in a few months. You'll know. I'm telling you, there is something coming so bad, I can't even explain it to you. I just have this. I've been watching this for a year now. I'm telling you, there's bad stuff coming inside of our churches that's going to bring havoc. Havoc. Let's go back here again. We're not getting very far in our verse. Hey, do you read the Bible like this, or do you just read it? I mean, hey, preacher, when you preach, do you just read a verse? And when you, how do I don't understand how a preacher can read and not have to stop now and then and preach on something that he just read. None of this is planned. None of this is written down on my paper. That's called being a preacher. And I'm sure some of you guys know what I'm talking about. Take heed therefore unto yourselves and to all the flock. All the flock. Who's he talking to? He's talking to the preachers, isn't he? I guess you could apply that to you as a parent as well, or a Sunday school teacher. It's applicable to many areas here, but specifically to the men of God. Take heed therefore unto yourselves and to all the flock over the which the Holy Ghost hath made you overseers. I want to say it again. I want to say it again. A brother out there was all upset. He said something to me. He said, I disagree with your two qualifications for the ministry. Well, let me tell you something. Whoop-de-doo. So you disagree with me. Big deal. Why don't you get a Bible? Why don't you do some study? And why don't you prove me wrong? Now, I did a whole show on this. I talked about Acts chapter 13. How many remember that? Raise your hand. I see those hands. You remember that? Just it wasn't too far back. I talked about the great apostle Paul. His name was Saul at the time. He's going to become the great apostle Paul. The Bible says in Acts 13 that the Holy Ghost, hey, didn't we just read about the Holy Ghost here? Yeah. Hey, isn't that a coincidence? Both passages. I didn't plan this. Honest to goodness. I didn't even plan what I'm telling you right now. That's why we go long now, because I get to preaching. The Holy Ghost said, separate me, Paul or Saul and Barnabas, for the work whereunto I that's God, have called them. Who calls men into the ministry? Raise your hand now. Who calls men? Is it moms? Some of you guys were mama called, no doubt about it. Is it dads? Some of you is a daddy called. Some of you were sent to Bible college because they want you to be a preacher. That ain't how it works. Now you may get called while you're there, but I was called long before I got to Bible college. Well, not too long before, but um, I could take you to the very spot where I knew that I was called, up in the state of Maine. And I think the place is still there, right on the ocean, where I had an apartment. And that's when I first realized God has called me. I didn't know exactly what he was calling me to, but I knew I was called to be in the ministry. And it all came into focus more than as time went on. But um, the Holy Ghost said, "Separate me, Saul and Barnabas, for the work whereunder I have called them." That's qualification number one, the call of God on your life. God has called me into the ministry. That's the first qualification. Are you called or are you not called? Some of you are preacher called. Preacher thinks you need to go to college, you need to be in the ministry. Now he means well, and maybe he sees something in you. But preachers don't call preachers. God calls men into the ministry. Are you still with me tonight? Are you mad at me yet? Give me time. I'll get to you. Are you listening tonight? This is so simple. This is so simple. And a man, because he's so upset with me because I'm staying against some false junk that's coming and he's a part of it. I don't agree with any name of these things. I disagree with you on this, and this, and I disagree with you on your two qualifications. I think First Timothy 3 are qualifications. Hogwash. Hogwash. You ain't got a Bible verse to stand on, my friend. I'm telling you right now what the Bible tells you. I'm showing you an example of two men of God who were called of God and sent out in the ministry, and it had nothing to do with First Timothy chapter 3, the bishop must be. Nothing. I'm telling you, the call of God. I could take you to I could take you to Samuel in the Old Testament. Samuel wasn't called by Eli, the high priest. Samuel was called by God Almighty. Samuel was there to help steer him and help him to understand what was going on. And Samuel acknowledged God has called you. Same thing in Acts chapter 13. And these lugheads, these lugheads. Where in the world did these guys get a diploma in? I don't understand them. Where did these guys go to college? Who signed their diploma? These preachers. But brother goodness, those are Old Testament people. Those aren't New Testament pastors. Ugh. I don't know what to say anymore to these guys. You understand the things in the Old Testament were our examples, Corinthians tells us? Do you understand? He talked about the church in the wilderness, First Corinthians chapter 10. That was that church in the wilderness. Moses was the pastor. Do you understand? The greatest example of a pastor in your entire Bible is not Paul, is not Peter, it's Moses. Moses, he's all through the Bible, all through the New Testament. He led the people. He met with God upon the mountain. He got the words of God. See, but they don't fit. They don't fit these guys' belief system about who can be in the ministry and who can't. So they said them people don't matter. The Old Testament examples they don't matter. I want to say it once again. Who in the world signs your diploma? You ought to be honest with God and yourself. You ought to send that diploma back and say, I'm not worthy of this. I don't believe what you taught me, or I missed something while I was there. How do these guys become preachers? By the way, I have serious doubts about some of the guys out there that I got serious doubts about their calling. Now, it's none of my business. I'm staying in my lane, but I'm an evangelist. My lane's different than a pastor lane. My lane's a little different. My ministry is to the churches, to the pastors, not necessarily my home. The places that God opens doors and I go. My ministry is there, and I'm supposed to see things, and I'm supposed to try to fix things and straighten things out. Again, I wonder about the call of God on some of these men. So separate me, Paul and Barnabas, for the work when I've called. God calls. The presbytery, the laying on of the hands of the presbytery. You'll see that in Acts 13. Now that verse is not in Acts, and that's in another place. The laying on of the hands of the presbytery. What that means is ordination from the man of God at your church. And that church, that pastor sees the call of God in your life, and he lays hands on you, and that church sends you out to do the work that God called you to, whether that be a mission field or start a church or whatever it is. Now, what's so hard about that? So, a guy gets called of God, his pastor sees it in him, the church, they lay hands on him, they ordain him, they send him out, and some YouTuber, some podcaster from some 1,000 miles away sees something he doesn't like in that man, or hears a rumor, or things through the grapevine and the phone lines and the gossip and the tale bearing. He says, "Well, I don't think that guy should be in the ministry. He don't believe like I do. I don't think he should be in the ministry." Well, I don't care what you think, Buster. You're not the one who calls men into ministry. You're not the one who sent that man into the ministry. You're not the one that laid hands on him. You're the guy that needs hands laid on you, I think. Now, I'm not trying to be mean here. I'm trying to shake some of you. Do you understand what I'm saying? Some preacher in another state doesn't get to hear a rumor about some other preacher 1,000 miles away and get on his podcast or his YouTube and tell the world that so and so shouldn't be in the ministry. He doesn't fit the requirements of 1 Timothy chapter 3. Those in 1 Timothy 3 are not requirements. We've been taught that all. I was taught that. I was taught that in Bible college. I know better now. Those aren't requirements. Nobody. You listen to me. You listen to me. Nobody, not one man in the pulpit today could pass the test of those qualifications, if those are qualifications. Not one man today, not the podcaster, not the guy that slammed me today on his page and blah blah. I don't agree with you on the qualification. He couldn't pass the test of those must be's in 1 Timothy 3. Is anybody listening tonight? You say, "Well, I'm a preacher." I asked a guy. I asked the preacher on the phone. I said, "Are you blameless?" You know what he said? I mean, he didn't even hesitate, not 1 second. "Yes, I'm blameless." And I thought to myself, what kind of a thing to say is that? That's pride. Let me tell you something. There's not one of us, not one man of God that stands behind a pulpit that is worthy to stand behind that pulpit. The only reason we're worthy to stand behind that pulpit is that God called us to do it. Nothing in you. You're not good enough. You're not holy enough. You're not righteous enough. Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are? Moses was qualified. Moses was the first one to say, "I can't even speak, the Lord, not me." It's the power of God in his life. Nobody's qualified. His brother and sister said, "You're not qualified, Moses." God punished them, but in a way, they were right. But God said, "Look, I called him. You stay out of it." Some of you podcasters out there, you better realize that. One of these days, God's going to grab you by the scuff of the neck. Said, "Why are you messing with my men out there? I'll take care of my preachers. If I want them out of the ministry, I know their phone number." This is childish stuff. This is kindergarten stuff. You don't call men to preach. You don't get to tell men that they can't preach. You can leave a church if you want. You don't have to sit under a man if you don't like him, and you don't have to be under his influence. But you have no right. No right. God calls, the church ordains, sends him out. That pastor at the church at Antioch in Acts 13, he didn't call Peter in the church in Jerusalem. He didn't call Pastor James in Jerusalem. He didn't call him on the phone, said to James, I got a man here, two men. They claim God called them. And I want to get your approval on sending these men out in the ministry. And James said, "Oh, yeah, bring them on. I want to talk to these men. I want to make sure they meet these requirements. I want to make sure they're blameless. I got news for you. They weren't blameless. Nobody, nobody's completely blameless. The standard given in First Timothy 3 is a standard no preacher could ever measure up to that measuring rod. And if you think you can, Buster, I want to meet with you. Because you're filled with pride, I'm going to stick a pin in you and you're going to bounce all over the room. Shame on you. There ain't nobody worthy. Now, those must be's in First Timothy 3, we don't have time to get into that. I've shared this before. You ought to do some word studies like I have. You ought to look up that word must. The bishop must be. That's a be being verb, must be. You ought to see what the Oxford English Dictionary taught me. Did you know the word must or must be can never be talking about the past? Never. Never. Are you listening? Never. The phrase must be is always talking about present and future. Now that'll shake up some people, some pastors out there. That'll shake some people up. Why don't you go do some Bible study? See, we've been taught this junk all of our life, no, and we haven't gone and studied it for ourselves. About time some of yous cracked open some books and some dictionaries and did some study to find out what God said instead of what your college told you or some professor told you or all your preacher buddies. All your preacher buddies. I bless God, if a guy's done that, he can't be in the ministry. Well, you know what? You think anything you want. It ain't up to you. You're not God. You're not God. Now, I'm not saying a guy commits adultery, you ought to go and he ought to preach to you next time. I think a man that messes up, whatever it is, I think he needs to get right with the Lord. He may need to step down depending on what happened. He's lost his influence. If he's lost his influence, he's got to step away. And he's got to practice Galatians 6. He's got to get some help. He's got to get restored. And First Timothy 3 is he must be husband, one wife, must be, can't be a brawler. These are character traits that are going to affect your influence in your community. These are not qualifications. There's only two qualifications: called of God, endorsed or ordained, endorsed. The preacher sees it in you, he sends you out. That's it. That's it. You'll see that all through the Old Testament. You'll see that in the book of Acts. And but we come to First Timothy 3 and we don't understand it. We think these are qualifications. No. First of all, it says the bishop must wait a minute, stop right there. You see what I'm saying? If you do some study, if you learn how to be grammatically correct, most of you guys don't know English. Some of you guys know more Greek than you do English. Shame on you. Shame on you. The Greek is past. God's word is in the King James Bible. Learn English. Brother Hyle said the greatest class we have at Hyles Anson College was English. We all laughed about it. Yeah, right. He was right. He was right about a lot of things. And he says any preacher worth his salt will learn his Bible, learn English, learn the things that they were trying to get you. You see how that verse starts? The bishop, therefore, must be. Stop right there. The bishop, therefore. We're not talking to somebody that wants to be a pastor. Are you listening? Are you listening? We're talking about a man who's already a pastor. Read it again. The bishop or the pastor must be. You tell me, is he already a pastor or not? Of course he is. The bishop, the pastor, the leader of the church must be. These are attributes, character traits of the man of God that are going to grant him influence and success in the ministry. These are not qualifications. You and I are going to stand before God one day, and some of you big guys out there who think you know it all. You're going to stand next to me at the throne of God one day, and you're going to look over and say, "I'm sorry, brother Goon, you were right, because I am right. Not saying I'm right about everything. Nobody is. I'm right about this." You'll see one day. You just got to get over your pride, and you got to get over your love affair with this junk that's going around, and this destructive, crazy, attacking and digging up men's sins. 25 years ago, and trying to plaster people's sins all over the internet. One day, hopefully, you'll get right with God and get away from that garbage. You quit being a talebearer, revealer of secrets. Let's finish the verse here. It's been 40 minutes already. I was going to be short. Take heed, therefore, unto yourselves, preachers, and to the flock, over the which the Holy Ghost hath made you overseers. God calls. He makes you a preacher to feed the church of God, which he hath purchased with his own blood. It's not your church, man of God. It's his church. They're his people. He shed his blood for them, not you. You feed the church. That's one of the jobs that God's given you as the man of God. Feed the sheep. Lead them to the good water. Warn them about the wolves coming in. They're coming in the front door. Your back's turned because you're dealing with the world, and the real problem's coming in the front door of your church. I'm telling you, I'm telling you the truth, Pastor. I'm telling you the truth. The wolves have come in your front door. They're sitting in the pews while you preach about people on the outside. They're going to destroy the flock. They're going to scatter it. Verse 29, for I know this, that after my departing shall grievous wolves enter in among you. See, I'm not lying here. I'm telling you the truth. Paul's backing me up here. My buddy Paul is backing me up here. Grievous wolves enter in among you, not sparing the flock, teaching their false doctrine, their opinions, their gossip, and their tale bearing. And you better realize, preacher, your biggest enemy's not outside that door. Your biggest enemies are in the pews. You better learn how to decipher the wolf from the sheep. It's not easy. By the way, usually it happens behind your back. They're whispering to people. They're having little secret Bible studies with people in your church. I've seen it. I've witnessed this. You better watch that, preacher. Everything, all the teaching going on in your church, you don't do it all, but you better oversee it all. Better not be anybody teaching that you haven't authorized. It's a big deal, a very big deal. You'll know someday when when they come knocking on your door and they want you to leave. And lastly, verse 30, also of your own selves shall men arise speaking perverse things of your own selves inside the church. Shall men arise? Well, Moses, you're not the only one. We're holy too. God speaks through us too. Yeah, that was a bad day, by the way, when that happened. And shall men arise from your of your own selves shall men arise, speaking perverse things, speaking perverse things. Let's stop right there. What does he mean? How about sharing the sins of other preachers? That sounds perverse. Is that perverse? By the way, what child of God should be sitting around hearing stuff like that? Why are you listening to these accusations of men that have been dead for years? And you know what he did? And they stuff and stuff that you can't prove or deny. You don't know what the truth is. Why are you listening to that? You know what that is? That's also of your own self shall men arise, speaking perverse things. That's exactly what's going on today. Sharing the sins of people. I know a guy, he paid money, hundreds of dollars to get some records on somebody so he could try to expose his sins. I don't understand that. Do you understand that? Would paying money? I mean, that's like it's the National Enquirer. That's what they do. They spend money to get somebody to come in and share some crazy immoral, wicked, vile story on their network, so all their viewers will keep watching, and they can sell ads and make money and get esteem and power. Why would you do that? Why would you share people's sins on your network? That's not our job. By the way, I mean, some of these men are some people are guilty of some things, but they've been forgiven. They've gotten right with God. They're serving God, and some big loudmouth comes along and wants to expose that man's sin from 10 years ago. That's not right with he ain't right with God. There's nothing godly about that, is there? Let me ask you a question. If you're let's say your dad was a preacher and he messed up, went to jail for messing with a teenage girl, and he's been out for some years. And would you like to? Do you think we should do a story about him here? Let's do a story here on Crossing the Spotlight. Let's tell the world what your dad did. Do you think that would be? Do you think that would be good? Now, some of you think it would, unless it's your dad. I mean, where in the Bible am I supposed to tell the world what some guy did 5, 10 years ago? The guy's right with God now. He's trying to serve God. He messed up and he's right with God now. But let's bury him. Let's destroy him. Let's trash him. Let's tell the whole world what he did. Hey, better yet, let's tell the world what's in your past. Are you listening? I'm pointing at you. Let's tell the world what some things in your past. What are you thinking of right now? What's the one thing you hope nobody ever finds out about that you did when you was a teenager or 22 years old? What is there back there that you'd be embarrassed and ashamed if people found out about it and started spreading it? You know, don't tell me there ain't nothing back there. I've done some things I'm ashamed of. I've done things I wouldn't want people to know. Stupid stuff, some wicked stuff, and it's okay to spread it on somebody else, but no, not me. Don't do it to me. Some of these guys I'm talking about, when we share some truths here, they get mad and they attack me. See, it's okay to dish it out, but they don't want it. They don't want you talking about their sins. And there's plenty of their sins to go around. Plenty of mine too. If we want to spend a week talking about my sins, let me close with this. Amos chapter 5. Amos chapter 5. If you haven't got the point yet, the enemy is inside your church. I'm thinking of a pastor right now. The enemy, I promise you, the enemy's in his church. His church is going to be destroyed. I promise you. I know it's going to happen. It's terrible what's happening there. It, the enemy's in his church. He doesn't know it. I don't think he does. And Amos chapter 5, verse 19 says this. And it's a little illustration here, and it's almost like a proverb. And he says, as if a man did flee from a lion and a bear met him, or went into the house and leaned his hand on the wall and a serpent bit him. Now this is a funny verse. What is this saying? This is talking about a man who's running from a lion. He gets away from the lion and now a bear is chasing him. Oh man, what luck is this? I beat the lion. I got away from him, but now there's a bear after me. What in the world's going on here? He outruns that bear. He gets to the house, runs in the door, quickly slams the door. Just as the bear gets to the door, he's scratching at it, and he's sitting there breathing a sigh of relief. Man, I made it. And he leans up against the wall, and a snake, a serpent, bites him, and he dies. You can't win, can you? You know what the lesson there is? I hope after 40 minutes of this, I hope you know what the lesson is. It's not the enemies. Now there are enemies outdoors. There's bears and lions outdoors, but the bigger enemy is inside the house of God. You shut the door and you think you're safe in there, and you put your hand on the wall and you're getting bitten. The enemy is among us. More so today than any time in the history of the church. The enemy is no longer outside, he's inside. Inside. You got to learn, preacher, you got to learn how to dig them up. You got to learn how to discern who these guys are, who's the enemies out there. You got to lead with an iron fist. You got to be authoritative. I'm serious. You got to be authoritative. You got to put some fear in the people. You got to put the fear of God. They're going to think twice standing up against you, causing problem if they're afraid of you. There needs to be some godly fear of the man of God. I can show you that in the Bible. I can show you that. Needs to be some fear. He's the man of God. He's the man that God has placed there. He's not perfect. It's the enemy within that's killing us. And back to where I started with my statement to Joe Lewis here, not the boxer now, my Texas friend. I think, and I'm pretty sure that's who this is. But I said I'm going to talk about it tonight's program. Our eyes are on the world, but something is coming through the front door. I want to leave you with that tonight. This is very sobering. Something is coming through your front door. Something has already come through your front door, is sitting in your pews. Something or someone have already come in, and they're already in Sunday school classes giving opinions and trying to twist people's understanding of different things, trying to sway them to their line of thinking. Be careful. That's the biggest enemy you've got. The enemy, the wolves from within. All righty. Hope you have a good Lord's Day tomorrow. It's Sunday tomorrow, and hope that you get to a good church and have some preaching, old-fashioned preaching. The greatest need of America, the greatest need of America is preaching, old-fashioned preaching. And what do we got? We got anything? I'm going to close out the Facebook page because let me uh, let me just real quickly see if there were any comments that I've got to say something about. And Russell is in the house. Ohio, Minnesota, Texas. Um, okay. And correct. You posted about the barley. I think I have that book. Okay. And Gary said a question if you have time. I already answered that about the apostasy there. And Carolyn says hello. I don't know if she's still here. I realize it's late. What time is it now? Probably close to 9:30, right? 9:13. 10:13 for you folks on the on the East Coast there. Um, Nothing else to lose. Okay, that's the handle. Good point about bishops versus being called from the Lord. Okay, wait a minute. Can't. Oh, come on. How do I get rid of that? I can't see. Come out of there. There we go. Now I've lost the. Right there they are. Uh, where was that? I think the Lord wants us to unite against Islam. Regardless of denomination, we must put that all aside for now and join the unity against Islam. I'd be more that you be for something than against something. Um, but that's for another day. I'm definitely not into Islam, and I would not be a part of that. It is not Christian. Good point about bishops versus being called from the Lord Himself. Oh, come on. I keep, as so many make a big deal about church fathers like Eusebius or, oh, this is aggravating. I keep having to go back. They claim you're not authorized by the bishop. Okay. The bishop in the Bible, we're not talking about a Catholic bishop, we're talking about a pastor. Bishop, pastor, overseer, these are elders, these are terms for the man of God. And I'm going to throw this thing out the window a minute if they don't cooperate. I would love to see other churches. Oh, I got that already. Character definition, the mental and moral qualities distinctive to an individual. Okay, that's Ladybug. And let's see, asking God to give us discernment and wisdom in these days. And that God uses everyone, whoever that is. Last days, treacherous, slanderous, haters of God. The love of money is the root of all evil, and some of them, it's what they're still doing. Okay, all right. I think we got all of those. So I think we'll get off of here. There's still 15 people on. And hey, hit the like button if you haven't already. If you're not a subscriber, hit the red button. Subscribe. There's a little bell you can hit. You'll get an alert every time we come. We try to come on every day. It doesn't always happen. And we're going to be doing lots more. I'm going to have a fireside chat that I'm going to start. Um, we're going to have a studio in here. We're actually going to bring cameras in here eventually. We're going to do some interviews via Zoom with some guys around the country, and lots of plans, lots that we want to do now that we've got the studio RV here. You understand it's 2 hours one way to the studio with Doc. And so we go out there every few weeks and do the TV shows, but there's no way to just jump in the car and go out there to do stuff like what I'm doing now. So anyway, well, I hope that we've been encouragement to you tonight. Again, it may sound like it. I don't hate these men. Um, are they my enemy? I don't know about that. They seem to be an enemy of the truth here, and a lot of them are spreading some things that just ain't so. And I'm trying to be a voice and stand up and try to call time out and say, hold on, let's look at the facts here. What's the truth in here? And why are we exposing sins in people 10 years ago and people now? Is that our job? I know the verses they use. Oh, mark them which cause division. That's right. Mark them which cause division. And I think that's the guys that I'm talking about, quite honestly. They're bringing a great division. And they're spreading stuff that I've been dealing with for 30 years. I wish they'd have called me and said, Brother Good, what do you know? I could have told them. Never called me. They never asked me. I spent 8 years in Bible college under Jack Hines. You know how many people have called me to ask me, what I saw while I was there? Are these rumors true? Nobody called me. Nope. My goodness, there were lots of great men that were there. Why didn't nobody call them and say, "Hey, is this true?" or "Did this happen?" Or now there are people who fell. Lots of people fell. Lots of people will fall in your church too. You get a place that big, you have lots of immorality problems. You know why? Because we're dealing with human beings and sinners, and stuff happens everywhere. Every church, every college, every institution. All right. I was going to read the poem, but I'm not. It's on the web. It's on the Facebook page. The wonderful poem by the gospel poet Scott Forster. We put several of his poems in our books. We're gonna do some more. I got him working on one right now for my new book on Genesis. I told him some details that I said maybe God will give you inspiration for a poem for the new book, and I know He will. And this is pretty interesting. He wrote a poem about when the wolves come in. Very applicable to what we're talking about. But two, three, four, five stanzas. It's on the Facebook page. Go and read it to get a chance if you haven't already. I think you'll find it very eye-opening and very applicable to what we're talking about here. All right. God bless and keep your eyes on them skies.